Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I am going to be talking about popular books that are not worth the hype. I will be doing another video regarding popular books that are worth the hype. That one might be up first. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. The point is that the inverse of this video will be coming out soon. But let's talk about some books that I thought were just not great. There's probably going to be some on here that you're probably going to guess. I'm not going to mention Sarah J Maas because I think I've talked about Sarah J Maas so much on my channel. I do think a lot of her recent books are very overhyped. The reason why I think they're overhyped is because I do think her writing has got worse, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I've got about 7 or 8 books on this list, and yeah, let's just jump into the video. So the first book that I'm going to talk about, and this is not going to be a surprise to anybody, is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. These books are abysmal. They're abysmally written. The reason why the writing is so bad is because the author has clearly not put in the work into really plotting out the series, because there are so many inaccuracies, there are so many inconsistencies in this series so far. I do find it really quite mind-blowing that made it past the editing table. I have reviews of both of the books. I will link them down below if you so wish to go check them out. I do a real deep dive into both books about why they are not good books. This series so far is just really, really badly executed. There are certain ideas that the author has, which, let's be honest, are not new ideas. They're rehashes of other series, very famous series that we've all read and loved, and maybe not loved, but you know what I mean. This series is just not good, and it's not worth the hype because it's just bad. Like, it's straight up bad. All right, that's enough on her. I don't want to give her more time than I have to. Next up, we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, I will probably get a lot of hate about this. This is one of those series that when I read it last year, I really enjoyed it. The reason why I think it's overhyped is because I think it's actually quite average. And the reason why I think it's quite average is that there is nothing unique, in my opinion, about this series that really sets it apart from other fantasy series or dystopian series or sci-fi series. Does that mean that every book has to have something unique? Not necessarily. But there's nothing new that is added to the genre, in my opinion, from Pierce Brown. The other thing as well is that he takes a lot from other popular series like The Hunger Games as an example, and that's fine, but at least try to have like an alternative spin on it or execute it better. But he just doesn't, in my opinion. I gave books 1, 2, and 3 between like 4 to 5 stars. Where it really went downhill for me was the following books. So books 4 and 5, I DNF'd Dark Age. Like, I hated that book. The reason why I hated that book compared to the original trilogy, and don't get me wrong, I don't think the original trilogy is that great either. It is better than the following books. The thing that he did quite well in the original trilogy is that we really got behind Darrow and we really understood why he was doing what he was doing. And I've always said that, so I'm a character-driven reader. I need to buy into my characters, I need to buy into the POVs that we're following. And we do get that in the original trilogy. However, when we get to the 4th and 5th book, I just feel like that doesn't happen as much. The reason why I DNF Dark Age is because I just hated every single character. And not because they're bad people, I just found them so boring. I'm probably going to get quite a lot of comments about this. I've not really met anybody who doesn't like Red Rising series. And like I said, the original trilogy, I do think is overhyped. I don't hate it though. I think I got taken in by like the hype from other people, and I really wish I hadn't let that happen, but it is what it is. I don't let that happen now, but then I definitely did kind of get swayed by other like booktubers. I don't really watch booktube now because I just don't have the time. But that original trilogy was okay, but it's the following books that really just, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get the buzz. I just don't understand. But yeah, any people who don't like Red Rising or don't see the hype, please comment down below because I've literally not met anyone who doesn't like it. Next up, we have a very popular series. Yeah, DNF this series too, and that is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I read J-City and whatever the second book is called. DNF the second book, read a summary of what happened in the third book, and I was so happy that I didn't push on because I think it's not great. It's really bad. Yeah, it's really not good. The reason why it's not good is that the writing is very heavy. And I don't mind heavy writing, like dense writing. I've read a lot of authors who do that, but they do it very well. The thing about this author is that they info dump so much, and they do it at the weirdest intervals that it makes the narrative feel very unnatural, and it takes me out of the story. The other thing that I really don't like is the characters. Again, a lot of people say these characters are morally grey, and some of them are, yes, but I love morally grey characters, but every single one of these characters was just annoying, and I did not back any of them, especially Hilo. Shay had the potential to become a character that I really enjoyed, but unfortunately this author decided to make her this kind of wet wipe who would only succumb to the male characters, and I just hate that. I hate it. Like, why? And I don't understand how people can say Shay is empowering, because she's not. She's everything she does is a direct result of how her family have treated her. It's very much run by the men. It left a really horrible taste in my mouth. I don't want to read books like that. And there was very weird sex scenes in it as well that just really grossed me out. Like the very first one that we get between Hilo and his girlfriend, when very odd, really odd. Like, why? Yeah, if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just really, really weird to me. Just very boring, very slow, but like not in a good way. Not very good character development or characters in general, and the writing was pretty atrocious in my opinion. Next up, we have Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is one of those, like, I would describe this series as like popcorn fiction, where very easy to read. It's kind of very superficial in the sense that there's not much depth, but like you can get through them. But these books, I don't get why they get so much hype. I've read the first 4 books. I read them so quickly because you can literally just like flick the pages and you'll get the gist of what's happening. But it's just not that well written. I guess it depends what you want to get from your books, right? I want to get something out of the writing, and this is just one of those series. I just don't think you're going to get anything out of the writing because it's just pretty basic, but like not in a good way. So I know this series gets a lot of love, and that's fine. Again, like I said, I think it works for maybe its intended audience, but I don't know. I don't think it deserves as much hype as it gets. All right, we have 2 more left. This next one is another fantasy series, and that is The Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. Great beginning, then went downhill. One of the things that I didn't really like about this first book, I don't know if it gets better. Anybody who's read the whole series, do let me know. The one thing I found really frustrating is the writing style. I remember there being like inconsistencies throughout the book, and it just didn't really make sense. And I think if the author had done some like basic research on like war, they would have realised that what they had written didn't make sense. I did do a review of it, so definitely go check out my review, because I read it like 2 years ago, so I can't really remember the specifics, but I just remember there being inconsistencies and me thinking I could just go Google this and know that this is not the case. I also didn't really like the direction that the story went in. That's very much a personal preference thing. Some people I know really love it, and that's cool. I remember being bothered by the writing style, and it's a shame because I love the sound of the plot. I think some of the characters were compelling, like Adamat, but it was more show, don't tell, and I want to know. I don't want to just be shown. All right, the final one. This is a pretty beloved one, and this is a sci-fi book, and that is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Don't get it. Now, this is a case that I actually think the author's writing is pretty good. I do think Andy Weir does a really good job of storytelling. I think a lot of people really love like the themes that this book is covering, and I do too, especially around the whole idea of like connection and like what happens when humans don't have connection, because our main character basically is like isolated, and then we are introduced to a character that kind of helps him deal with that isolation. I love that concept, but I just personally don't think it was as emotional as a lot of people made it out to be. Maybe that's just because I've got a cold black heart. Maybe it's entirely possible that that's the case, but yeah, it didn't give me the comfort that I think it did a lot of people. So this one is very much not a matter of the writing. It's very much that I just don't think it's as emotional as people made it out to be. But like I said, it could just be that I have a cold black heart. So sad times. So those are the popular books that I think aren't worth the hype. Let me know down below what books you've read in the last year or two that you think are not worth the hype, that are popular, and let's take it down below. Thanks for watching, folks. Please give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you soon. Stay safe and take care. Bye.